Hello again. So in this video, we are going to start with a Google Colab and start working with the data set that we just discussed earlier. Let me just make the volume a bit higher. So please be careful. My volume is going to go up. Okay, let's get started. All right. First, I would like you to kindly head to Moodle. And of course, there will be a folder on Moodle for missing data. And in that folder, please just download the whole folder and you will get the missing data set of slides, and also you're gonna get the C example 2 missing data. So what we're gonna do first and foremost is reading the data file. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna import. Let's do it together. Of course, guys, I also included in the Moodle section of Python a file called loading datasets. It's called loading datasets. Of course, the extension is IPYNB. And you can copy this code that I'm going to type in right now easily and more effectively. So we need the pandas library for that. And okay, let's keep going. And from google.colab, we are going to import files, and now we can start. So we're gonna use uploaded, for example, equal to files.upload, and now we are going to execute this cell of code. And now we will be prompted by a dialog box and upload the file stored here. Oh, no. Go minne. It's over here. In my case, it's over here. C, missing data, and I want the Excel, XLSX. All right, so now the second part would be import IO. Import IO. And now we are going to store the data set in a data frame, and using the pandas read underscore Excel, we are going to read the Excel file. Of course, I showed you in class that this Excel file is read in terms of bytes, and this is why we are going to now use this line of code so that we can read it properly. Let's hope that I haven't made any mistake. Okay, and now there's no mistake. Let's just take a look at the data frame. As you can see, this is the same table that we discussed earlier in the previous video. All right, so now that we got the data set, let's get started. There are a list of libraries that I would rather maybe import the library as we use it. Let's hope I don't forget to do that, but it's okay. Even if I do, we can go back and fix it. Okay, I wanna show you how to excuse me, how to read the different data types of the D types of all the variables all at once. Instead of using the function type and in between brackets put the variable name, with this df.d types, we can return all the different types of the data. So here, first name is object. Object is not string. That is quite funny. Here for these are object, object, float, float, and float. And most importantly, that numerical variables are here also in float, which is numeric. Okay. Now let's take a look at another interesting and a very useful is shape. With shape, it will return the shape of the data frame. As you can see, it's 5 and 6. 5 is the 5 rows and 6 are the number of variables. So now you know that you have 5 different records and in total 6 different variables. So if you want to always check how many variables you have, this is the number of variables and this is the number of data points. So if you want to know the number of data points, you use df.shape. This is one of the things that I will ask you maybe in the quiz for Python. I'm not going to tell you use the dot shape. On the other hand, I will ask you return the number of the data points, and I of course need to see the line of code. All right, lovelies. Now let's start with the first topic of today's lecture, which is we are going to start with the following. We're going to start with detecting missing values. So it is just missing value detection. Okay. So we are going to talk about visible errors. These visible errors like blank cells or special symbols in there like NA for not available. And for numerics, we have NaN, which means not a number, and etc. kind of symbols. Okay, let me just add multiple of these code lines so that we are positioned on the center. All right. How about how about first, actually not for the purpose of, or maybe we should do it in later class, in other class. I have here in the previous year, I used to show my students how to, for example, you have a big data set and it has 30 variables and you want to know what is the list of categorical variables and what is the list of numerical variables. I should have given you this last time, but last time I didn't want to over saturate you with things, but I also today I don't want to oversaturate you with things. I want to build up slowly with you as I always do. But I just wanted to let you know that maybe next time I'm going to show you how to write a piece of code that tells you what is the list of categorical variables and what's the list of numerical variables, because this is one of the things that probably will make your life much easier, especially if you have a big data set. When you're using that code, you will easily be able to create a data frame just for categorical variables and start working on that for the coming couple of days so that you can, as a data analyst, so that you can transform all of these categorical variables into dummies. Once you're done with the categorical variables, you move on to the numerical variables. And then you concatenate them together, you start working on the numerical variables, right? In fact, first you need to take a look at missing data. So let's take a look at the missing data. So I'm going to skip these ones and start right with here. Okay. Before anything, I would like to also show you this very interesting line of code that will help you. The first thing is to examine the data. I would like to give the data description here. As you can see here, this is the count. So first name has 5, 5, age is 5, but because it's a float, it's 4, sorry, not 5, 4.04. This is a 3, and this is a 3. This is the count. So what does that mean? This means that there are missing data here compared to this. Remember, we have 5 lines of data. 5, you see here in the shape, we have 5 records. Yeah, but this is the count, is not the number of records. So if I give you this in the quiz and you just use describe for the count, no, it's not going to give you the right number, and this is not the, I will not accept it as the correct answer, even if it's going to give you the same answer, which is the correct answer. The idea is this is not the right function to use for the purpose of finding out the total number of records, regardless of any records with missing data. All of them are missing data, or so on. Okay, good. Now, and these are the unique here is NA, N, and so on. So this is also indication of missing data. And this is the top, the frequency, the mean. And you can see when you have missing data, you can't even getting the mean or standard deviation or minimum, or the first quantile, the second quantile, or the not quantile, quartile, or second quartile, or the third quartile. Yeah, so this is the purpose why we need to clean the data. We will not be able to aggregate anything with missing data, but Tableau can do that. This is the nice thing about Tableau, isn't it? Over here with Python, you will not be able to do so. You have to clean the data first. First of all, I would like to show you, for example, you are a data analyst, you have to report what you've done with the data. How many, you have to do that all the time. At the very beginning, of course, as a trainee, I am sure if you have a very good manager or a person you're working with, they would want to see how many data points were missing and how did you deal with that and so on. You might even be asked for a presentation. So you need to show the percentage of missing values per variable, or variable, or we call it also a column. So in order to do that, we're going to use the len function. Do you remember the len function from last time? It's the length. Do you remember it from the last time video? So the len function, or the length function, returns the number of items in an object. Okay, let's get started. What is the name of our data frame? Is df. There is a method here, is NA. So is NA, it checks and returns the number here of NA cells. So I want you to sum it. So it's going to be, sum here is also a function. So sum should be in this color. So df dot is NA dot sum. So here is going to return the number here is going to count or sum these values. It's going to return 1, 1, 1, 1, and then it's going to sum it. Okay, over the length of df in general, the total length. So this is the length of the data frame. This will not give me a percentage. If you do this, it's going to give me 0.2, 0.2, which is a percentage per se. So you can keep it as this, which is 20%, 20%, 20%. Or you can, if you want, just multiply it by 100. Like put it like that, like multiply it by 100. And then basically it will give you the 20% you're looking for. But for now, maybe I will just leave it like that. It's okay. So now I know that I have 20% of the data here is missing, and over here is 40% of the data. This is too much. I could probably afford 5 to 10% of the data to get rid of it as it is missing. All right, so now I am not sure if I should write this whole code, or I should just give you a break and I'm gonna show you. I'm just gonna ask you to copy that and paste it. So I'm gonna just on my Google Drive. I'm gonna give it to you also. You don't have to do this for now. I will just do it later. I think this is what are we doing, guys? Missing data. Okay. So don't do this part of the code. It requires copy and paste, and I'm not gonna give you the code right now. Well, there's this piece of code that is quite interesting. I want to help you out, guys. I could have stopped here, but I really would like to help you out. This is missing data for a data frame DF. So if you have a data frame DF and you would like to get something interesting like the list of all the variables, as you can see here, and then the zero values, the number of zero values, the number of missing values, and then of course the number of zero values if they were a mistake. For example, if you know for sure that this is minimum maximum shouldn't be a zero, so maybe you would like to see the zero values. But if the data entry takes zeros for certain variables, it's okay. You don't need this. You don't need to examine this. Missing values, we have 2, and over here we have all ones, and this is the percentage of it, as you can see, and this is the total zero missing, and this is the percentage, and this is the data type, so that you can deal with it accordingly. This kind of report is the kind of report that you would need to report to your manager in the future, and or put into your thesis or include into your thesis. All right, so now I would like to also maybe share with you something, another interesting excuse me, piece of code, if you want to see it visually as a heat map. But I think I need the SNS, and SNS is a library that we need to import, which is the Seaborn. So for this purpose, I'm going to take the code, but it's not going to run because the library is not available. So I'm going to have to import the library first. So let's import this together. Import Seaborn as SNS. And see, now we can easily see the heat map, and we can see that most of the variables affected is in here and so on. So we can easily also see when the data is solid in blue that everything is all right. There is not even any problem. So you can also visually, if you want to verify that everything is all right, you can do that. Okay. Now I think I'm maybe gonna go over. This is all about detecting missing values. So now we were able to detect missing values. Of course, for you, you will say, well, why is she doing this? We already knew. But this is because you already knew you can already examine a small data set from 0 to 4, which is 5 different records. But if you have a very huge data set, plus 10 variables, 1,000 data records, then it's very difficult for you. And then what you need to do is first of all, any data set, I recommend that you put the describe here and take a look at the mean, the standard deviation, and so on. And also to check for missing variables. And this will be an interesting piece of code that I am sharing here with you guys, It will help you see the zeros. This means that there's a problem if there's a zero in last name or first name. Somebody put zero instead of the name of the person. So this is why I put the zeros here and the different missing values. And this is for verification. I usually use it. All right. All right. This is for the detection. Now the most interesting part, which is dealing with missing values. See you in the next video.